Well, thank you for joining me. I'm Scott Ryan. It's the evening after the Arizona primary debate, and I was blown away by what I saw this morning. I mean, I expected the media to be skewed, but they really surpassed my expectations. I turned on the moderate Murdoch media this morning, Fox and Friends, and I do watch that every day. I love Brian Kilmeade, and Gretchen's pretty good as well. Nevertheless, I wanted to really get a take on how this was going, how they were going to spin this. And who do they have on in the morning? First thing, their most highly rated morning show. Who do they have on to tell us how Mitt Romney fared in last night's debate? Mitt Romney's former debate coach, or it might be his current debate coach. He was the first one that I saw that was their analyst. And who was next but Governor Chris Christie, who has been obnoxiously cramming this liberal imposter down our throats ad nauseum for the past month and a half, ever since he endorsed him. Those are the two people that Fox's vast audience in the morning, prime time, were supposed to give credence to as fair arbitrators of last night's debate. So, of course, they told us that Rick Santorum had a bad night. He didn't deliver the knockout blow. And that is utter nonsense. This whole thing was a sham from the beginning. You know, I was on freerepublic.com last night while I was watching the debate because right off the bat I noticed that something just wasn't quite right. It was very different than all the other debates that I've seen so far throughout the country because the audience was very skewed toward Mitt Romney. I mean, usually there would be a fairly good balance other than of course, you always had your Ron Paul supporters who they're a different breed of their own, but Mitt Romney, they would applaud in hysteria even just when he would go to catch his breath before he would even say something. I mean, I think if he would have passed gas, they would have applauded that, which isn't much of a stretch when you compare the latter to his typical campaign platitudes. Nevertheless, the whole thing seemed a little odd, and I didn't know much about Mesa, Arizona, and I put out a little blurb on Free Republic just to get a sense of whether anyone else felt the same way I did. So I said, well, is it just me, or does it seem like CNN bust in the Mormon Tabernacle Choir tonight into this audience? And what I found from one of the freepers there is that something I probably should have known, which is that Arizona was basically founded by Mormons or Mesa, Arizona was basically founded by Mormons in the 1800s. And there's a major Mormon population there, a significant Mormon tabernacle there, which, according to this freeper, is one in which Mormon males can go to perform this unique esoteric ritual that allows them to reach godhood. So that really made a lot of sense. And then some commented that, well, this might be one of the rare times, that being the case, that CNN didn't actually stuff the audience with people that are pro-Romney intentionally. But I think it really begs the question of all of Arizona, why Mesa? Why did they have this debate in Mesa? It's very curious, especially when you consider the fact that this liberal media is salivating over the prospect. I've been saying this for years, the past 2 years, that they're salivating over the prospect of having Mitt Romney as their candidate, as our candidate, I should say. Listen, people, when the liberal media, who distorts all of the virtuous in society, when they libel and slander decade after decade anybody who has a modicum of decency, when they tell you that when they tell you repeatedly that the candidate that they most fear could destroy Obama is Mitt Romney, the only one who could beat Mitt Romney or beat Obama is Mitt Romney, These people are not saying this out of altruism. Think about it. It doesn't take a PhD from MIT to figure this one out. It's not nuclear fusion. But we just want to believe what we want to believe. Nevertheless, this liberal media had this candidate that they've been pimping for the past year, telling us how afraid they are of him. And he's suddenly mortally wounded going into these very important primaries in Michigan and Arizona. Santorum is kicking his rear end in substance and winning the polls. So they have this debate in Arizona, in Mesa, and knowing that Romney is a Mormon, a very high up elder Mormon, so high up that even his wife's parents couldn't attend their wedding ceremony because they weren't Mormons. So nevertheless, they know this. He's going in there, and they pick the Mormon town that's so heavily slated Mormon that you couldn't possibly find friendlier territory for this mortally wounded paper champion of a candidate. So that really begs the question. It's very suspicious. Why Mesa, Arizona? But then you think about it, there's a reason. With any public speech or debate, it is absolutely amazing what a difference a live audience, a friendly live audience, can do for a candidate. I mean, it is night and day. The people, the shills on the Fox News network this morning who are telling us that Santorum didn't deal the knockout blow, they're either lying or they are incompetent dimwits who have no business masquerading as experts of any sort. They are telling us that Santorum didn't deal the knockout blow. Well, I'll tell you what. That was one of the most impressive performances I have seen. That one retort to Romney's boasting of how he balanced the budget as a governor for 10 years, or however many years it was. Rick Santorum, I'm going to post it on my website below this one because it was worth the price of admissions. I have not seen such a beautiful monologue. This guy is like an adroit prosecutor. And because the audience wasn't there like it normally would have, if this had been in South Carolina or any other state, essentially, that place would have gone nuts. But there was dead silence because your 85% Mormon audience didn't like their boy Mitt being picked on. Rick Santorum destroyed Mitt Romney last night with that one bite. That is one that would go down in history and will go down in history if Santorum should win this primary. And this video isn't about that, pushing Santorum. I voted for Gingrich. I love Santorum. I love Gingrich. That's fine. This is about exposing the manipulation. And when you look at TV shows going back ever to the 1940s and 50s, live audience, laugh tracks, applause tracks, they're always used to manipulate the viewers and to tell viewers how to perceive things. There's a reason why they've been doing that for the last 75 years, ladies and gentlemen. I challenge you all to watch that debate. If you could watch it, take out all audience, applause, boos, make everybody perform without any of that, and you will see an entirely different debate than what you thought you saw or what the media, the moderate and liberal media, are telling you that you witnessed. Mitt Romney was destroyed. He delivered his typical platitudes. He is saying some things that people want to hear, but most of us are rejecting him because we know he's saying things because we want to hear it. We know that a guy in Massachusetts who invented socialist medicine there, the precursor to Obamacare, we know a man, Mitt Romney, created Wheels for Welfare in Massachusetts, the albatross that gave us welfare benefits, free automobiles, free auto repairs, free auto insurance, and even free towing as a welfare benefit. It was such an albatross that Scott Brown and even the Democrat governor who succeeded this liberal had to dismantle it because it was bleeding the state red, and they have to balance a budget. Yeah, this is the genius who, after years of making money in his chop shop at Bain, is suddenly he brings his acumen, his business expertise to government. We've seen this is the model. That's the kind of crap, that's the kind of garbage that he brought to the table. The liberal media knows that Mitt Romney will lose to Barack Obama. Why change horses? Why change liberal horses midstream? He's totally inoculated by the fact that Mitt Romney's been in agreement with them in the past decade on every issue that are major catastrophic flaws of Obama. The moderate media, some of the moderate media have crushes on Mitt. Some of them want their power and they're looking forward to their appointments. Some of them are on the take, like Drudge, most likely, taking big bucks from Romney, I would assume. Whatever the case may be, their agenda is not our agenda. Mitt Romney must be stopped. Thank you for joining me. I'm Scott Ryan.